Welcome back, Hornets. Here we are again. This was supposed to be our learning path for Monday, and we didn't quite get to it. So we're going to use it a little bit today to go over some stuff with Google Slides because Google Slides is one of those great tools that we can use to build presentations and we can also use as an interactive classroom. So, right now, we're going to use it as an interactive classroom so I can show you a couple of cool things about your learning paths every week or every day when they are put up, because at the end of every week they'll be tallied together and averaged for a grade. So the very first thing you'll notice is right here it's got this check-in, and I'm going to come over here to my bar and I'm going to scroll over and it says, did you remember to check in and do your bell work? And if you didn't, you can click on my Bitmoji and it will take you to today's bell work slide. And that way you can still from here click on this slide. That's a great thing about slides. You can link them together so that they work together. And so from here, you could then click on this attendance check-in on Google Form once it finishes loading. There's nothing I can do about that. So, all right. So, and we'll check on that and we'll click on the Google form where you will do your daily check in. And right now, I have it set up in this format and it might change from day to day or week to week. But right now, put your last name, your first name. This is ELA class. So, you'll check ELA. You'll come here to do date. You can click that little drop down box and you can even put the date. Just click on it and there it is. And you'll just give me a from 1 to 7, how you feel about what we've been doing the past day or so, just so I can get an idea of where you think you are. So, and now I'm going to close all this out and I'm going to go back to my original learning path. Now, back to here. So I'm going to go to my second page of my learning path. Now, notice I'm not in presentation mode. And I'm not in presentation mode because this is interactive, which means you're going to have to do things. So you're going to have to look and go, oh, I have my composition book out. I can check that off. Yay. Oh, I have my ready workbook out and it's on my table. I can check that off. Woohoo. I've got my pen or pencil. I can check that off. And then, oh, yes, I've got a yellow highlighter. I can check that off. Done. And you will drag and drop the check marks into the boxes. On slide 3, it gives us your actions for the day. This is telling you just everything you're going to be doing in a list, and you want to go in chronological order. So slide 4 is going to give you an overview of Google Classroom. And I can't play it through while I'm also videoing this. So if you click play, it's going to answer some questions you might have had about Google Classroom in case there's something I didn't touch on today. Slide 5 is going to be an action that you have to do. If you notice over here, there's an instruction box pointing at an arrow. Excuse me, it's an information box pointing, telling you instructions, telling you to create a new sourcebook entry. And there's also a nice arrow over here that says sourcebook notes. You will always be able to identify these by the yellow box with blue titles. Anytime you see this, you know it's going to be a new sourcebook entry. The other magical thing about this is I can come here and click on where it says create a new sourcebook entry, and you see that it's blue. That is automatically hyperlinked to your digital sourcebook. I'm going to go ahead and click that and let it open, and I'll come back to it while it's loading. And you're going to write down these notes. Everything on this page, you're writing down, and you can work at your own pace. Then once you finish writing those down, you're going to move to the next slide, which is slide 6. And it's a little short 1-minute video dealing with context clues. And you'll click play and you'll watch the video. Now, sometimes I'll have, questions maybe on the side over here where I want you to answer something in the speaker notes box, or I want you to come down here and click to add speaker notes. And I might want you to actually answer a question down here. And I'm going to change the font and make it bigger, maybe bigger and bolder. So that way you notice that it says click here to add speaker notes. So there could be some questions right there. And then you might put your answer down here. All right, slide 7 is telling you that we're going, well, maybe slide 7. It's telling you we're going to look at a flashback, kind of a let's review and practice from 6th grade. So I'm going to click on slide 8. And this is going over your 6th grade context clues. You can even click on this link right here, and it will take you to a document. It'll take you to the actual workbook page from last year that was dealing in context clues. All right, slide 9 is wanting you to look at different types of context clues, letting you know that based on this chart, did you read it? Did you look at it? Did you understand this chart? And can you apply your last year's chart and information to these sentences? In your directions that are in this black box with white writing, say drag the correct type of context clue to its matching sentence, which means you have to click the box, maybe, and drag it somewhere. So you're going to click on the box and drag it to the one that it goes with. I'm not saying these are the right answers. I'm just showing you that you can drag and drop the material. And you do that. And I'll check it to see if you got it right. But I want you to leave it. Even if you miss it, I still want you to leave it because you get to self-check, which is part of this as well. And it goes over why. And then we even get down here where it's going to ask you proponents of women's rights like to support other causes. Now in this purple box, it says based on the context clues, what does the word proponents mean? Type your answer in the speaker notes box below, which means you're going to come down there and type your answer. And then once you've typed your answer, you're going to go to slide 12 and it says, did you get it right? Go back to the previous slide and drag the purple box, and you'll drag the purple box up and you'll see the right answer. I don't want you to change your answer. I do want to know if maybe you missed it and you're going to come up there and drag it. Maybe next time I'll get it right. If you did get it right, you're going to drag up there where it says got it. And that's all you're going to do. And I'm going to move on to the next slide. Now, slide 13 is where we're actually going over we're adding to those source book notes that we wrote on context clues. And that's our 7th grade chart. Now, notice it says add the following. You're not starting a new entry. You're adding to the one you already have. All right, we even have our source book notes continued, letting you know that it's continued, not new. Then we end up with our next slide that goes, wait a minute, only one changed. It went from definition to restatement. And that is the only difference between 6th grade context clues and 7th grade context clues. Then you're going to hit slide 15 when it says, are you ready? Because you need your ready workbook out and you need to be on page 251. Because on slide 16, here's your directions. Oops. Slide 16 says, turn to page 251 in your ready workbook, play the video, and follow along in your workbook. I'm going to let you know, guys, if I write it down, you need to write it down in your workbook because there's a chance I'm going to be asking you to take a picture of it from home and upload it so I can see it. I also have an example of the Cami link for the AHA process or the annotation that I did while we were doing this video so you can see that too, in case you don't have your workbook. And then once you finish that, you come down to the very last slide and you're going to click your exit ticket, which means you click on my emoji, there's a dock, and it's going to pop up your exit ticket, which is that guided practice at the bottom of your page 251. So that is there, and you'll do that one. And that is worth 8 points of your 20 points for this entire slideshow. And once you get done with this entire slideshow, you have to go back to Google Classroom, and you have to click the turn in button. If you do not click the turn in button, you have not turned in your week's assignment, that day's assignment. So while that's loading, I'm going to go back and look at our digital source book. We went through today and set up our source book, and maybe I have this set up as well through the first couple of slides with your table of contents, with everything that I expect yours to have and what it should look like. This is a running copy of the things that I will have in there. And there is your slide. There is what you were doing today. All right. And the classes is still loading. So I'm just going to go look at this one. Classwork, maybe. Going to go click on my week 1 tab because that's what I'm going to look in. And this is, here we go. I'd open this and I would turn in my assignment. Okay. And that's it. And you're done. So a lot of stuff with Google Slides we're going to practice with. And hopefully after this, I will learn how to make some other stuff with Google Slides. All right, guys. Get started on your learning path.